Welcome back to another video on the Maths channel. It's your teacher Muslim here. In this video we're going to be looking at shares and dividends. This is part of the investments and loans topic from the Year 12 Mathematics Standard 2 course. By the end of this lesson you'll be able to do these three things: explain what a share and dividend is, solve problems involving the purchase and sale of shares, and calculate dividend and dividend yield. So let's have a look at the first part of this lesson. What is a share and what is a dividend? A share, which is also known as a stock, is a part ownership in a company. They are bought and sold on the stock market or stock exchange. In Australia, we have the Australian Stock Exchange, also known as the ASX. So let's say, for example, we've got this business here. You want to start up your own bubble tea company. Okay, I love boba, so I thought I'd just go with this. And let's say you don't have enough money, you don't have enough capital. So in order for you to raise money, in order for you to raise capital, you decide to split your business into shares and list your business on the ASX. There, people can buy shares in your company, so they own part of your company and you get their money. With that money, you can buy equipment that you need to make the bubble tea. You can use it to rent out a place or fit it out with everything that you need in order to attract customers and make a profit. So let's just go with this example here. And I'm just going to keep it relatively simple. Let's say you split 100% of your business into 100 shares. Okay, so that means one share is worth 1% of your business. You decide to keep, let's just say you decide to keep 80 shares. Okay, so that's 80%. And then you decide to sell the other 20 shares at, let's say, $100 each. Okay, at $100 each. So how much money did you manage to get? 20 times 100 is 2,000. So you've got $2,000 that you can use. That might be able to get you some rent for maybe a couple of months, maybe a little bit of machinery, but hopefully you've got money already that you've saved that can help you start this business. Let's say, for example, you split it into 1,000 shares instead, and you decided to keep 800, which is still 80%. And you sold the other 200 shares for $100 each. Now you've got $20,000 to play. Okay, you've got $20,000 to play with and to buy things that you need for your bubble tea business. But what is a dividend? A dividend is a distribution of some of the company's profits to its shareholders. It is given as an amount per share, or as a percentage of the issued price, which is the price at which the shares were bought. So let's continue with this bubble tea business example. Let's say your bubble tea business makes a profit of $100,000 this year. You decide to reinvest $95,000 back into the business so you can use that money to buy even more equipment, hire more people, make renovations to your store, or maybe expand, get another store somewhere else. And you distribute the rest as dividends. So you've got $5,000 which you're going to give back to the owners or part owners of your business, of your company. So because there were 1,000 shares to begin with, okay, I'm just going to go with this 1,000. You're giving $5,000 back as dividends. You're sharing in the business's profits, $5,000 worth of profits. So $5,000 worth of profits, 1,000 shares, each share gets $5. So what does that mean? Well, if you kept the 800 shares for yourself, as we set up here, how much money will you get in dividends? Well, you get 800 times 5. You get $4,000 in dividends. You get to keep $4,000 of the profits for yourself. If someone bought just one share in your company, then they only get the $5 in dividends. If someone else bought 5 shares in your company, then they'll get 5 times 5, $25 worth of dividends. Okay. So now we know, now we have a better understanding of what a share and a dividend is. Let's have a look at how to solve problems involving the purchase and the sale of shares. So here are two formulas that I've created that are not on your formula sheet. Okay, so you need to memorize these, or you need to understand how this works. The cost to purchase shares is the share price times the number of shares plus the brokerage fee. Okay, in order for you to buy shares, you actually need to go through a broker, and they're going to charge you some money for their services so that you can buy shares. Okay, you can't just buy shares without paying a brokerage fee. So whenever you buy shares or whenever you sell shares, you need to go through a broker and pay a brokerage fee. The second formula here is the amount received from the sale of shares. So you've got shares and you decided to sell them. How much money will you get? Well, it's whatever the share price is times the number of shares that you sell minus the brokerage fee, because you have to pay a fee in order for the broker to sell your shares. So let's have a look at some examples. Lucy bought 500 shares at a market value of $6.80 each. Brokerage fees incurred were $33 including GST. What is the total cost of purchasing the shares? Okay, so we know that the total cost is the share price times the number of shares plus the brokerage fee. Well, the share price is $6.80 each. She bought 500 of them. But she also has to pay a brokerage fee of $33. Okay, we put in our calculator. We get $3,433. Alright, let's have a look at question 2. The table below indicates the brokerage fees for the number of shares purchased and sold for the questions below. What is the cost of purchasing 2,345 shares at $18.33 each? Well, we know that the cost is going to equal to the number of shares times the cost per share plus the brokerage fee. Now, this brokerage fee here for 2,345 shares is going to be $38. So we'll put that in our calculator. And it's going to cost $43,021.85. A lot of money. Alright, what about question B, part 1? How many shares at $15.74 per share were purchased if the total paid including the brokerage fee was $49,811.88? So this is our total cost. So we're going to put that on the left hand side. $49,811.88. We know it costs $15.74 per share times the number of shares. I'll just write that as N for the number of shares. I don't know how many it is. That's what we're trying to work out. How many shares? Plus the brokerage fee. Now, we don't know which one it belongs to, 20, 30, 38, or 42. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to divide, just to get a rough estimation. If I were to divide 49,811.88 by the $15.74, let's see how many shares that would roughly equate to. 3,164. So it looks to me that it's clearly over $3,000. Sorry, not $3,000, over 3,000 shares, which will incur a $42 brokerage fee. So I'm going to use 42 for this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 42 from both sides. to give me 49,769.88 is equal to 15.74N. And so the number of shares, I'm just going to divide both sides by 15.74 now. Which is 3,162. So I'm just going to write a concluding statement. Therefore, 3,162 shares were purchased. All right, what about part 2? What profit or loss is made if all the shares were sold at $13.92 each? So this is still part of part B, question B. Well, we can see here, if we look at the price per share, if we bought it at $15.74 and sold at $13.92, clearly we're making a loss. So let's see how much loss is made. So I'm just going to write down the amount received. So we go back to our formulas. Amount received from sale of shares is share price times the number of shares minus the brokerage fee. So amount received share price of $13.92 times the number of shares. Well, now we know how many shares were purchased, minus the brokerage fee. The brokerage fee again is 42. Okay, because we're selling. This is the amount of shares purchased or sold. We're selling over 3,000 shares, so the brokerage fee will be $42. All right, so how much would we receive? $13.92 times 3,162 minus 42. We will receive $43,973.04. We know that in part B, we spent $49,811.88. So therefore, there's going to be a loss. $49,811.88 minus 43,973.04. A loss of $5,838.84. All right, let's have a look at part C. Allison purchased 867 shares in the company for a total of $25,509.80. Brielle purchased 3,211 shares in the same company for a total of $94,445.40. How much would it cost Charlie to purchase 2,500 shares in the same company? So here we'll probably need to construct simultaneous equations. So let's start with Allison. She buys 867 shares. We don't know how much it's going to cost. I'm going to write C for cost, but 867 times C plus the brokerage fee. How much does it cost for the brokerage for 867 shares? That's $20. And she spent $25,509.80. What about for Brielle? Brielle purchased 3,211 shares for the same price. But how much was her brokerage fee? So 3,211, that's over 3,000, so that's $42. And from here we can see 94,445.4. Looks like we didn't even need to use simultaneous equations because this is going to get us the same answer either way. There's only one variable, which is just the cost. So I could just solve either one of these, A or B. So let's look at A. I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. So that gives me 867C is going to equal to 25509.8 minus 20. $25,489.8, and we divide both sides by 867, I'll get 29.4. So that means one share will cost $29.40. We're going to get the same answer from Brielle. Okay, so if we were to subtract 42 from both sides, 94445.4 minus 42, and then divide that by 3,211, we'll get 29.4 as well. So we know that the cost is $29.40. So how much would it cost for Charlie? Well, Charlie wants to buy 2,500. It costs $29.40 per share. But how much is her brokerage fee? For 2,500 shares, 2,500 shares is going to cost her $38 in brokerage. So let's put that in the calculator. That's going to give us 73,538. All right. Let's move on to the last part of this lesson, which is calculating dividend and dividend yield. Now, there are two formulas for dividend yield. It really depends on the context of the question. So I put them both in here. The dividend yield is the annual dividend per share divided by the market price per share times 100%. Now, it's important to remember when you put this in your calculator, you don't put the percentage symbol, you just times by 100. And you put your percent in your answer. The second formula is total dividend received divided by the total market value of the shares. Again, times by 100%. So whenever you're being asked the dividend yield, it's always a percentage. If you want to work out the dividend per share, it's the dividend yield times the market price per share. Now, these formulas are not on your formula sheet, so you will need to memorize them. So let's have a look at some examples. Question 1a. The share price of a company is $28.42. What would the dividend be if the predicted dividend yield is 3.5%? So the dividend is the dividend yield, 3.5%, times the share price, $28.42. Which is 0.9947. Okay, or 99.47 cents. And that's per share. So the more shares you have, the more dividends you'll receive. So if you had 100 shares, you'll have $99.47 in dividends. Question B. The company decides to pay a dividend of $1.12. What is the dividend yield? So if we were to compare these two values, we know that in question B, the company decides to give more than what we worked out in question A, which means that the answer, the dividend yield, will be more than 3.5%. Okay, so if you check your answer for question B and you see that it's less than 3.5%, you must have made a mistake somewhere. Just make sure it makes sense. So, what is the dividend yield? The dividend yield. We're going to take the dividend of $1.12. We're going to divide it by the market price or share price of $28.42. And we're going to times it by 100%. So 1.12 over 28.42 times 100. Do not press percent in your calculator. That's just going to times it by 1. So that gives us 3.94, and we write the percent here. Okay, 3.94%, and that's the 2dp. Alright, question 2. Brianna has 380 shares in Apple worth $87.60 each. What is her dividend yield if she received $471 in total dividends? So dividend yield, we know is going to be a percentage. So we're going to take her total dividends and divide it by the total value of her shares. She's got 380 shares at $87.60 each. And then we're going to times that by 100%. So 471 over 380 times 87.6 times 100, which is 1.41. I'll just do 415%. That's the 3dp. Okay, and that's Brianna's dividend yield. Alright, question 3. Jackson received $835 in total dividends for his 4,580 Telstra shares. What is the market price per share if his dividend yield was 3.9%? Okay, so what do we need to do here? I'm just going to break this up. His dividend yield. We know dividend yield is equal to the dividend divided by the market value times 100%. The dividend yield is 3.9%. He received $835 in total dividends. So because this is total dividends, we need a total market value of his shares. So I might write TMV for total market value. Alright, so in order for us to do this, we need to divide both sides by 100%. So we've got 3.9% divided by 100%, which is 0.039. So if we want to work out the total market value, I'm going to swap these two. Okay, 835 divided by 0.039, giving me $21,410.26. Okay, so that's his total market value. The question is asking what is the market price per share. So the market price per share is just the total market value divided by the number of shares. Okay, just think about this logically. There's no real formula. I guess that is the formula. So total market value is 21,410.26 over our number of shares. He has 4,580 shares. So let's divide that through, giving us $4.67 per share. And that's it for this lesson. So I hope you now know how to explain what a dividend and a share is, solve problems involving the purchase and sale of shares, and calculate the dividend and dividend yield. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.